Hello everyone! If, like me, you love adventures in the style of Indiana Jones, you're going to enjoy today's review. Today we're talking about the game Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'll say right away, I was eagerly looking forward to this project as it promised to be a real treat for fans of the famous archaeologist. So, let's dive in and see if the game managed to capture that adventurous spirit we all cherish in the Indiana Jones films and games. The development of the Great Circle was surrounded by many rumors and debates. There were doubts about whether the game would even be released, but fortunately, everything worked out in the end. The events of the game take place between the first two films, just before the start of World War II. And what I especially liked is how carefully the developers integrated the story into the canon. Indiana Jones sets off in search of a mysterious artifact, the Great Circle, which was stolen from a museum. This artifact, true to the franchise's spirit, is linked to ancient civilizations and possesses incredible power. Naturally, there are Nazis involved who want to use the artifact for their dark purposes. The main antagonist, a German archaeologist, took me back to the days when characters were given real attention and depth. This German character is simply fantastic. He has a strong charisma, an interesting way of speaking, excellent voice acting, and great facial expressions, making him a truly captivating villain. He's like the dark side of Indiana Jones, an archaeologist too, but on the other side of the barricades. The game is filled with Easter eggs, and if you're a fan of these films, these moments will definitely make you happy. For example, right at the beginning of the game, there's a scene in the jungles of South America that almost exactly mirrors the events from the first film, where Indiana and his team are exploring the surroundings. There's also the memorable spider scene, and the moment where he knocks a revolver out of an enemy's hand with his whip. Now, let's talk about the most important thing, the gameplay. Unlike most games in this genre where the action is seen from a third-person perspective, here we control Indiana Jones directly from his point of view. It's like stepping back into those famous movie scenes, only now you are the one raiding tombs and solving puzzles. As a die-hard fan of adventure games and films, I always appreciate variety in mechanics, and this game delivers. First of all, the developers added a character progression system, which was a nice surprise. By completing side quests or finding secrets, you earn experience points. But the coolest part is the books you find during the game. They allow you to upgrade Indiana's skills using experience points, which further encourages world exploration. This is totally my thing. I love searching every corner for something interesting. The combat system deserves a round of applause. Of course, it's a bit arcade-like, but the hand-to-hand fights are just fantastic. The ability to parry blows, perform counterattacks, and use surrounding objects as weapons, it's really cool. However, the shooting mechanics, well, let's just say they're the weak spot of the game. Often it's better to just avoid it, because once you fire a shot, enemies immediately know your location and attack in force, so it's usually easier to avoid gunfights altogether. But to be honest, I personally prefer solving things quietly as well. The start of the game impresses with its scale. The action kicks off in the Vatican, in a massive location filled with everything we love. Secret passages, puzzles, side quests. There's parkour, stealth, and the ability to knock out enemies with the good old whip or anything else you can grab, like an empty bottle or a hammer. To deceive enemies, you can disguise yourself as a priest, a construction worker, or a German soldier by finding and changing into the corresponding outfit. Everyone except the officers will stop recognizing you, giving Indiana near total freedom of movement. If you can't find the right costume, though, you're in for a blockade. But you can find and read scattered notes throughout the city. Maybe they'll reveal a secret passage. And to open it, you'll need to solve a small puzzle. Another option is to complete a side quest. The reward might be a key that opens a safer route. By the way, the side quests aren't just hastily added extras. They're full-fledged, interesting missions. And of course, you can always go in guns blazing and try to take out all the enemies. either stealthily or openly. How you approach it is up to you. To be fair, it's worth noting that the stealth mechanics aren't very refined. The enemies, let's be honest, are pretty dumb, which gives you too much freedom to act. If you crouch and sneak up on an enemy, they won't notice you until the very last moment. And if you do get spotted, all you have to do is hide in a secluded spot for about half a minute, and they'll forget all about you. But you know, this is more of a game element you get used to rather than a real flaw. What I really want to praise, though, are the puzzles. They're fantastic here. Forget about the banal move the box or find the key types of challenges. Yes, these may not be as complex as the puzzles we've seen in Tomb Raider or Uncharted, but still, here you have to think, match facts, and figure out codes. This definitely adds depth to the game. The game offers quite expansive locations to explore. The Himalayas, Shanghai, Egypt, and many more. You can return to these locations at any time and explore them in more detail, completing side quests. From a visual standpoint, traveling through these locations is a real pleasure. Each temple, cave, and archive is designed with incredible detail, and the game is well optimized. Even with ray tracing turned on, I didn't experience any serious performance issues. The graphics capture the adventure atmosphere, and the music takes you back to the films of George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. It's that feeling when the soundtrack literally guides you through the game. The last time we got to enjoy something like this was with games like Uncharted 4, and that was 8 years ago. And now finally, we have a game that brings us back to this genre. So, what's the final verdict? The Great Circle is undoubtedly a solid game for anyone who loves adventures in the spirit of Indiana Jones. Yes, it has its flaws. The stealth and shooting mechanics could have been much better. The somewhat basic NPC AI was also a bit disappointing, but the positives far outweigh the negatives. Atmospheric locations, engaging puzzles, dynamic combat, and a character progression system. My rating? An 8 out of 10. Maybe not a masterpiece, but it's definitely a game worth playing if you enjoy adventure games. For me personally, this game is an excellent Indiana Jones simulator. If the developers had worked a bit more on the stealth and shooting mechanics, I'd confidently give it a 9 out of 10. What do you think? Share your opinions in the comments. Do you think the developers succeeded in bringing the spirit of Indiana Jones back with this game? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the perfect time. There's plenty more exciting content coming soon. See you next time, friends!